From California State University Long Beach, this is member-supported KJAZ. KKJZ Long Beach, Los Angeles. Log on to jazzandblues.org and become a supporting member of the KJAZ family. Your support is vital. And thanks for listening to member-supported KJAZ 88.1.
turning, got that music in my hips. You done come and paid you my name to be entertained, seeking some kind of inspiration from my pleasure and my pain. Ow. Music is my clothing. Slowly I undress. I don't mind disrobing to reveal my nakedness. I just want to tickle your fancy with words and harmony. Add a little rhythm and then happily concede that I drink imported wine right out of the bottle. I've looked straight into the eyes of an eclipse. My love life reads like some dime-sort novel, and I wear me a black lace Freudian slip. All the media and the critics, blah, 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 in my ear. Oh, I sat out there, but have you ever stood up here? It took a whole lot of preparation, a lot of contract signing, but I paid my obligations, and I freed my mind. I can see you staring from the corner of my eye. Are you thinking about what I'm wearing, or some standard to misapply? Or maybe you're searching for some meaning in every song I sing. But all you need to know is it's one little thing. And when I drink imported wine right out of the bottle, I look straight into the eyes of an eclipse. My love life reads like a dime-sort novel, and I'm wearing my black lace Freudian slip, 'cause baby I start floating and drifting. This stuff is coke, but ain't nobody listening. I'm taking aim and shooting straight from the hip, 'cause I got on my black lace Freudian slip. I can write my name, damn it, on water. This ain't no kind of one-upmanship, no. I could save your soul like Pharaoh's daughter, and I wear me a black lace. I get a little cold in my black lace. It's getting a little old, this black lace Freudian slip. I got a few holes in this slip. It's worn like an itchy stick.
Council meeting for the City of Seal Beach for February 13th. We'll do this officially. I call the regular meeting of the City Council and special meeting of the successor agency for the former Seal Beach Redevelopment Agency, February 13th, 2012, to order. Councilman Sloan, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Would you please join me in saluting our great nation? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Levitt.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller.
Here.
Councilwoman Deaton. Here. Councilman Shanks.
Here.
Councilman Sloan.
Here. Thank you. Approval of agenda and waiver of full reading of resolutions and ordinances. By motion of the City Council, this is a time to notify the public of any changes to the agenda and or rearrange the agenda order. As a City Manager, do you have any changes?
The city attorney will identify the items with revisions.
On item H, there are two contracts, one with WG Zimmerman Engineering and one with EIS. It's the same change to section 1.4. So if you take a look at the agreement, I think it's, well, I know the section, it's section 1.4 on page 2 of 9. It should read, consultant will not be compensated for any work performed not specified in the scope of services included in Exhibit A unless the city authorizes such work in advance and in writing. The city manager may authorize payment for additional work up to a cumulative maximum of $10,000. Payment for additional work in excess of $10,000 requires prior City Council authorization. So that's the change to those two agreements.
All right. Do you have any other agenda item changes? Quinn?
No.
Do we have any council members who wish to pull or change an item?
Would you pull H, please?
I'd like to pull I, please.
H. Eric?
I was going to pull H, so two H's.
Move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Please vote. Not working?
Let's vote again.
Let's see if it works now. Still not working properly. There, there's one more.
Maybe David's not voting.
David, would you push yours again? All right, hold it. That's fast.
I see the Edison company's here. I thought we maybe our power would.
Items H and item I have been pulled. Presentations and recognitions. Cypress College Foundation, Americana Award Citizen of the Year for the City of Seal Beach. The 2012 Citizen of the Year for the City of Seal Beach is Don Shoemaker, Senior Pastor of Grace Community Church of Seal Beach, who's been there from 1984 through this year. And he's now the Pastor Emeritus of the Seal Beach Police Senior Chaplain since 2001. In 2007, he received the Community Safety Award from the Seal Beach Chamber of Commerce, recognizing his contribution to public safety and raising money for AED units for the police department and in public places in the community. He received the California Medal of Merit for his meritorious support to those who answered our nation's call to duty in 2009. He's been married for 45 years to Mary, has 2 children and 6 grandchildren. And we have a plaque for him. Yes, we do. Buried for safekeeping, obviously. All right. Thank you very much for everything you've done for us. You're welcome. I'll hold this for my wife to. Yeah, thank you very much. All right, thank you. Would you like? All right. And then this is yours.
Okay. Retirement is good for 5 weeks. Staying busy on my own terms. And it's a pleasure to continue to serve as senior chaplain for the police department and give more time to that than previously, and serving as pastor emeritus of Grace Church, so planning to be around for a long time. And it's just been an absolute privilege to serve in this community and look forward to many more years. Thank you.
Do we have anyone here tonight? Pardon me? Yes. Oh, okay. Our second proclamation tonight is Regional Occupation Program, Career and Technical Education Month for February 2012. The President of the United States and the Governor of California have both declared February 1st through the 29th as Career Technical Education Month in the United States and in the state of California. The North Orange County Regional Occupational Program has served the residents of Seal Beach and surrounding communities for almost 40 years with top quality career technical education. The state-supported program offers career technical training opportunities annually to more than 22,000 high school juniors and seniors and adults. It is a part of the secondary education system. Their mission is to prepare students for success in a changing global economy by providing them with top-quality career training and services that meet their educational and occupational goals. Meg Kituli, is that right? All right. Board of Trustees for Los Alamitos Unified School District, and Patricia Hansmeyer? Not Han, okay. All right, if you would come forward. Honored to be able to present you with this.
Okay. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the recognition. And I will say a few words because whenever I have I always feel rude to the people in the audience. Whenever I have a chance to talk about career technical ed, I like to. I'm on the board for North Orange County Regional Occupation Program, which is what the state of California now calls their career technical ed schools. North Orange County ROP is a consortium of 5 school districts, which is why we have over 22,000 kids enrolled in them, because we don't have 22,000 kids at the high school. But we do have about 850 kids at Los Al High School who have been enrolled last year's, when we had the count for the full year, that were enrolled in career technical education classes. We feel that every child should take one, every student should take one if possible. We teach what they call the soft skills, which means how to present yourself, look people in the eye, shake hands, write a thank you note after you have a job interview, show up on time, things that as adults we know this is what you have to do in order to be successful in whatever career you choose. We also help with portfolios and specific trainings. And what I always tell students, if you take an ROP class and find out that you really can't stand it, that is very good knowledge, because then you're not going to major in it, you're not going to get in a certificate program to become something. If the sight of blood makes you sick, you do not want to be a paramedic or a first responder. And the sooner you find that out, the more time you will have to find an occupation that really suits your personality. Currently at Los Al High School, we have all of these classes, and I'd like to read them to you because there are just so many of them. We have video production, accounting occupations, entrepreneurship, careers with children, preschool lab, introduction to fire technology, child development, emergency medical responder, health fitness and sports medicine, construction occupations, computer-aided design, CAD designing, principles with engineering, and introduction to engineering design. The last two classes are an engineering program that is very, very hands-on. It does have the math and the theoretical behind it, but it also it's very hands-on. So we try to attract not only the kids that want to get a bachelor's in engineering, but the kids who are really handy and like to make things, and give them a chance to see how far they can go. We really appreciate this recognition. It is important to us. It's important to all of our futures. And North Orange County ROP thanks you very much for this recognition, and thank you also from myself.
Thank you very much. And now from Southern California Edison, Sean, if you'd make the introduction.
Tonight we'll be having a presentation from Janelle Godges, representing Southern California Edison.
Said to have you do it, so how'd you do it?
Oh. You're on.
What did I miss?
You're fine, Janelle.
Good evening, Janelle Godges, Southern California Edison. I'm here on a very happy and pleasant note. I'm here actually to give recognition to the city for your hard work, not only from the council, but also from the staff. You guys have been great partners to Edison, and we're sincerely grateful. I don't believe that there's anyone here from SCAG, but I know that I'm authorized to speak on their behalf. If you'll indulge me, I'd like to read the proclamation for the city of Seal Beach for being plug-in electric vehicle ready. Communities and regions across the nation are working with local utilities to prepare for the addition of PEVs to the electric grid. Early and thoughtful planning is essential to consumer satisfaction and ensuring reliable electric service. The City of Seal Beach has championed PEV readiness with the following exemplary actions that will serve as examples for other cities in Southern California. And I have to put that I'm very proud because the City of Seal Beach is my one and only city that's receiving this recognition. The City of Seal Beach is being recognized for implementing a streamlined permitting and inspection process to minimize the time required to install chargers in commercial and residential applications. You implemented a public education and outreach program by utilizing the materials and website developed by SCE and others to establish a community PEV education program by linking to sce.com/PEV and providing charging station location information. You actively supported regional public infrastructure planning by developing projections for PEV charging demand, developing infrastructure plan, and applying for federal and state grants to fund city public charging stations. Being recognized for supporting the community's needs for an appropriate number of publicly accessible PEV charging stations by identifying critical travel destinations and installing the first 2 public charging stations in the North Beach area on July 11, 2011 as part of the ChargePoint America program. You adopted the 2010 Cal Green Code requirements requiring new buildings to be electric vehicle charging ready. And just again from me to the City of Seal Beach staff, thank you so much. Sean has been instrumental. He's a great asset to the city, and I thank you and congratulations for being PEV ready.
Thank you. John, step up and receive it. All right, this is the time for oral communications. At this time, members of the public may address the council regarding any items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on any item not on the agenda unless authorized by law. Matters not on the agenda may, at the council's discretion, be referred to staff and placed on a future agenda. Those members of the public wishing to speak are asked to come forward to the microphone, state their name for the record. All speakers will be limited to a period of 5 minutes. Any documents for review should be presented to the city clerk for distribution. Please come forward if you'd like to address the council.
Scott Newton, Seal Beach Lions Club, and I brought a show with me.
Well, why don't you bring your partner with you?
Well, okay, come on up, Mike. I was going to introduce him later. And this is Mike Haley. He is the president of the largest Lions Club in the western United States. That's your Lions Club. Tonight I'm going to talk about graffiti removal. It all started, well, let's go here. It all started with our first opportunity when Sean called and said, we deal with graffiti, but we can't deal with private property like we really wish we could. Can you help us? Well, of course, we said yes. And so what did we do? We bought some paint, went over and covered it up. Seems pretty simple. But then we realized right after that, it's more than just covering it up. It's making it go away and make people appear as if it was never there. So, of course, we had to learn. We had to get trained. The public service, or public works helped us out on learning what kind of chemicals to get. We got supplies donated in town. Merchants helped with us. We worked with Janelle and others from Southern California Edison and the disposal company, saying, we will take responsibility for everything we see. And then, off we went. And it's amazing how much unattended graffiti there was. Now, I don't want to make it sound like there's a big blight in our town, but this is in the alleys and the corners and some of the hidden areas, and a lot of it's public as well. But in our town, every part is public as far as I'm concerned. So there's a lot of kind of unattended graffiti in all kinds of places. Even on Jim Clasannon's truck. So, Lions in action. 15 or so Lions got together. Lion Ray Longoria up in the top left, he's our chairman. We got together and started basically combing the entire city. Every single street, every single alley in Old Town, and then we've moved to the Hill. We've been up in College Park East. We've been now in College Park West. And just more recently, we worked the bike trail. So here we are in action. That's my son Grant, he's a Lion, and Mike's wife, and a bunch of others. And we from the very beginning, actually not from the very beginning, from day 2 on, we realized it has to be removed rather than covered up. And there's actually a lot of reasons for it. So here's some examples of what it looked like before, with somebody covering it once before, and then they just tag right over it. So we removed it. So this is our process is removal. Or in some cases, we have to paint over with matching colors. Brigham Men actually gave us their paint, their matched paint. So we just do it for them. And you can see that pole on the right side, you can hardly tell it was there, and that has actually been painted over. A couple of more examples here. In some cases, you have to paint it, but at least from a distance, you won't notice. So what are the results? And these are actually a week old, and they're now off by 100. We have actually removed more than 1,000 graffiti markings in Seal Beach. It's actually 1,100 now because we do keep track. 96% of it we discovered on our own during our lag runs, we called it, Lions Against Graffiti. And 4% came in through the hotline or through Ellery or city officials or whomever. And recently we just did the bike trail in College Park West and College Park East. We have really one thing left. Let's see here. I throw this in as some recent discoveries, and I drop this off at the police department because it's a little concerning. Top left, ESL is East Side Longos, I think. It was a gang in Long Beach. So some of that's creeped in, but this is really more the exception than the rule. So what's next? The last part of Seal Beach that we haven't got is the jetty that runs from basically Corey's out to the ocean, and that is actually Orange County property. And as far as we're concerned, if it's in Seal Beach or we can see it from Seal Beach, we want it removed. So that's our last project, is we're going to, in the spring, remove that. And we continue to respond immediately, and even Mike and his wife, Lion Marsh, are going out tomorrow. They're going lagging, as we call it. And we have a lot of fun. This is a couple weeks ago. A lot of our new members, we made them laggers. And here they are out on a graffiti day, riding their bikes, cleaning graffiti, having a good time. So it's really a lot of fun doing it. So we're very proud of our efforts so far in Seal Beach. We'll work continually with the city and with some other agencies to keep Seal Beach graffiti free. And we're almost 100% there. And We still find graffiti just about every day we go out. Some of it's small, some of it's a little nuisance, and as you know, we had a recent problem in Old Town. I'm not too sure if it's continuing or not, but some of it gets off so fast nobody even knows about it. So with that, thank you very much for the opportunity to let the Lions Club serve our city.
Scott,
Yes.
give the website.
All right.
Where do they report the graffiti?
Great. Graffiti removal at sealbeachlions.com. And if you send an email to that email address, four of us get that email instantly, and we all race to see who can get it first.
It is. We race to see who can get it first.
It's not a contest. It's just sort of a natural competitiveness, which your Lions Club is all about. So thank you very much. Keep graffiti free in Seal Beach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott, is your, Wednesday night?
What's that?
Do you have your speech contest?
Yeah,
Wednesday
our
night?
speakers contest is Wednesday night. It's at the library this time. And our meetings are first and third Wednesday at Corey's.
All right,
Someday
good.
we'll have a big enough room for our giant Lions Club.
All right, thank you. Anyone else want to come forward?
Lisa Starsick, College Park East. I just speaking because I noticed that the housing element was on here. I don't know exactly what the status of that is now. I try to stay informed, try to know what's going on, but I had absolutely no idea. I think I read something in Mr. Miller's newsletter that this was coming on, and I came into the meeting late where I heard a bunch of upset residents from Rossmore over there complaining about that. I went over to Rossmore to the meeting and heard a lot of residents from the Montecito townhomes in Rossmore complaining about traffic and congestion, and I just came to as a resident of College Park East who shops over there quite a bit during the week, I just say that I believe it is very congested. I support a traffic study. I've complained, I think, to Mr. Crumby when he was here in the past about egress and ingress from the shopping centers, and I think I was told that that's up to the shopping center, but it's extremely difficult to get from one to the other, or sometimes getting, especially late in the afternoon. I'm concerned with In-N-Out Burger coming in, that they don't block that north-south thoroughfare through there, because I go to Sprouts a lot, and just trying to get In-N-Out is very difficult. I also shop at Kohl's and Home Goods, and I know with the new stores coming in there, the PetSmart and whatever, that parking is going to get a little tighter. Used to be that when they had their holiday shopping, that the In-N-Out site was where their overflow parking was. And so now I'm assuming it's going to have to be behind or next to Home Goods there. And I'm just kind of concerned about the congestion. When it was identified as a site for the housing, I'm just very concerned about the congestion and that there's not enough parking and things there. A couple months ago, I went in, I think it was a Saturday afternoon, to go to one of the smaller stores on the north end, and I guess probably because of Panera and California Pizza Kitchen, there was no parking available. So even though I was planning on going to a store and making a purchase, I left, and I did not make a purchase. So I'm just concerned that congestion and lack of parking can actually hurt our retail sales there, and there may be nothing that we can do about what the center does for development, but we can certainly not try to cram some kind of housing or something that only increases the problem there. So anyway, I support a traffic study or something, because I think it's just only going to get worse as more and more stores come in there. So thank you.
Charles Antos. Last Thursday I had a column or a letter, whatever, in the Sun newspaper and it alluded to questions that I had asked the city attorney for answers to, and these all go, it's all relative to the questions that I raised while I was on the council dealing with the Department of Water and Power Property and information, asking for information. People ask me, well, what are the questions? Well, City Council may be interested in these, getting answers to these, and I have put a letter into the city attorney and a copy of the city manager tonight. When did the 50,000 pages of documents come to the city that were referred to in a Ed Selich column? Who received them? Why wasn't I informed when I was on the city council for almost 9 years? And then why, after I was gone, less than 2 weeks, decisions were made to approve a settlement agreement? During the time I was on the council, I asked for documents at least 10 times in closed session, in an open session, and every time I asked for information, I was told that there was no information available, no information given to the city. A number of times, the city attorney said, yep, we've asked for information and never gotten it. So I would like answers to these questions in writing. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor Levitt. Congratulations. Once again, it's been a long time, but since I've been here, and things are happening and things aren't happening. So there was a letter in the paper a couple of weeks ago. My concerns, because we are getting all these news articles in the paper about we're going to have to vote on more taxes for the state, more taxes, more taxes, more taxes. So I came up with a list of things that the city needs to look at. Seal Beach taxpayers, are you willing to pay more taxes? How much does the taxpayer owe for unfunded and bonded pension costs? When will the City Council get control of these costs by requesting public union employees pay for some of those costs? How much does the taxpayer owe for city employees' health care? Does the city need a private tennis court? And I left out that it belongs in College Park East. For the taxpayers that have asked me, it's in College Park East. And a private tennis court that pays a private operator but cannot pay the maintenance. Does the city need a yacht club? The Sunset Harbor Marina Park has boat docks, dry boat storage, boat repair, and a boat launch run by Orange County. The Seal Beach taxpayer, the Seal Beach city receives only a boat license fees. What is the cost for 2 city employees to ride in a city truck and give parking tickets? Now I know we have 1, but we still have the other truck with 2 people, but we have 1 that can ride and mark. Why do we pay for the education of city employees? They come here not qualified for the position or salary and leave with a degree. Some city employees have every other Friday off. Is this a furlough day without pay? Are they paid for that day off? Do the taxpayers need a bed and breakfast at the city police station? Millions were spent on the jail and new kitchen. Taxpayer money is being spent to cover the expenses of the bed and breakfast. And the bed and breakfast is for paying criminals. We have to pay the difference to house them here. All that money, people didn't know that. Do we need a redevelopment agency? Where do they get their money, and where does the money go? Not for our schools. How many Heron Point houses are in the RDA? Now we know the governor has shut that down. Should the city ban the practice of double dipping? So what I'm going to do over the next couple of months is take a couple of these at a time and come back and try to explain more detail for the taxpayers that are concerned about this, that are listening tonight and will listen on the rerun, because a lot of this stuff is costing us. It's costing the people like me. Every time I get a bill, it's a bill with a utility tax, and I'm paying all these taxes. I'm paying for all of the other things too. And then, so I'll be back, and I'll take a couple of them at a time and go in detail. Oh, and there are some others.
1 minute.
1 minute. People are coming to me now, and they say, put the fire station on there, Joyce. The Taj Mahal fire station at Leisure World. Put the oil companies on there, Joyce. Why are we giving oil companies money back to stay here in Seal Beach when we have no recession? The Leisure World paper, no recession. So I'm starting to add to this. We have a fire station that can't hardly be used, or we can't pay for the people to come there because we can't pay the bills. We not only have to pay the city union pension bills, but we have to pay the state, we have to pay the county, we have to pay the federal. Everybody's broke. So I'm coming back and take these in detail. Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishes to speak to the council?
Thank you. Good evening. Honorable Mayor and Council, staff, residents and visitors. My name is Bruce Monroe. I live on the Hill, and I'm here to bring glad tidings. I'm going to quote from Shakespeare to introduce the subject of the local coastal program, which is on the agenda tonight. Shakespeare wrote some time ago, "Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them." And that's happened here in Seal Beach. We are the only beach city who is able to write a local coastal program to not only include graffiti and tax control and the other things that you've heard about, but we'll be able to shape our future. We will be in control of the housing element, the visitor services, the health and safety of the citizens. Some people have lived without love, but no one lives without air, water, food, or shelter. And the local coastal program asks us to continue to protect the air, water, food and shelter, and the amenities and the quality of life and the small town atmosphere that we have at this point, and we may want to continue with. I was appointed as one of a group of 15 advisors, Citizens Advisory Committee for the local coastal program by Gordon Shanks, who is my councilman, and I serve under Ellery Deaton, who is the chair and was selected by all of you. We have staff and 15 hardworking volunteers. We meet on the second Tuesday night. That will be tomorrow night, and you're welcome to join us. We are deliberating on discontinuing some of the sunset practices that we've carried out over the years and doing other things in their place, and I just am very pleased to be a part of this effort and to enjoy the interaction and the brainstorming and the reasoning and the citizenship and the civility that occurs in that process. And if there are any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in and for volunteering. Anyone else like to approach council? Compliments, complaints? No? All right, then seeing none, I declare oral communications closed. Mr. City Attorney.
No report tonight.
The City Manager?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I have a couple things tonight. First off, we're excited to announce our ever-popular Shoreline Spring Recreation Guide is now online. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, it should arrive in mailboxes for all our residents by the end of the week. And this edition includes a preview of our summer camps, so we're excited because we hope that residents will see what's coming up in the summer and plan their schedules accordingly. As always, I want to give kudos to Tim and Dana. You know, we have 2 members in our recreation department, and to take on this endeavor is always a lot of extra work, so kudos to Tim and Dana. Just as a side note, if you look at the picture on the front of the guide, I was initially advised that the little boy was an extreme likeness to our own Tim Kelsey, but he confirmed for me today that that is in fact not him, but if you want to see what he looked like as a little boy, you'll see what I mean when you see it. Second off, I know all of you have been anxiously awaiting the arrival of our mid-year budget review, and staff's been working extremely long and hard hours so that we can have that prepared and ready to go. And so we'll be bringing that back for you at the next council meeting on February 27th, and that will include a comprehensive review of both our jail and tennis center operations. And then finally, as you know, staff will be coming back to you with some analysis on some audio recording and some different options based at council's direction. And so our clerk has offered for tomorrow night's general plan local coastal ad hoc committee meeting to test the viability of the audio recording component of the video streaming program that's now online. And so Linda will be here at the meeting tomorrow night to assist with that so we can see how it actually works. And so I want to thank Linda for her efforts for that. And then also the agenda for that meeting is posted on our website as well. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Quite a bit. Council?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. And for those of you who haven't got your Valentine anything, if maybe some of the card shops are still open tonight. So, and if you stay out of trouble, you can thank me.
That's all.
David, what do you mean? The candy shops are still open? The flower shops are open? I'm sure Nordstrom's is open.
But I want everybody to buy on Main Street.
I have a couple things. The county library committee met, and the major item there is the state is pulling out $600,000 a year from money they used to give to the county library for special projects, not so much just every day. Apparently they're not going to have to lower personnel, but it will mean that some of the special things that the libraries did will be cut back. And then the second thing is last week, the police department had a meeting in the building itself to discuss robberies up on the hill. And I must say the police did a very, very good job of explaining what's happening. And apparently it's really, this city, except for the shooting, has basically been such a safe city that if there are 2 robberies, the people in an area start thinking there's an epidemic of robberies. And what basically we found out, there were about 20 or 30 people there, and that really we aren't having that many robberies, but they did go to a very, very complete description of the things we can do to protect our property. But for those of us on the Hill and I think this applies even to Old Town and all parts of the city, we still have a very safe city. And that doesn't mean that if one or two robberies or break-ins happen, that the police are falling down on the job. If something comes up, you think somebody's robbing, you see somebody robbing, call 911, because the police can only do their job if we do our job of keep them informed. And as I say, the police did a very good job of explaining this. They are to be commended.
Yes, I have a couple of things. Thank you, Mayor. The first one is that at our next meeting, February 27th, the City Council is scheduled to award the trees for Main Street, and this will help to have our Main Street more beautified, and we're really looking forward to looking at that. And then on the 29th, the Wednesday following that, at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers, there will be a public meeting for lighting on Main Street. Now, that's something we've all been looking forward to for a really long time. If you're interested in the project for the lighting on Main Street, I urge you to come at 6 p.m. And after that, happy Valentine's Day, and we do sell flowers and candy on Main Street.
All right. On to council items. First one is a housing element. Oh, I've got something to read. Forgot about that, yeah. February 13th council meeting on the housing element. There has undoubtedly been a lot of discussion in the community over the past few months regarding the housing element process and the consideration of a portion of the Shops at Rossmore property to be designated for zoning as a potential affordable housing site for the future in order for Seal Beach to meet the state's affordable housing requirements. I am pleased to report tonight that the General Plan Local Coastal Ad Hoc Citizens Committee that is appointed by the City Council and charged with drafting and recommending a draft housing element to the Planning Commission and the City Council will be revisiting and reviewing the original 17-site inventory list, as well as a few additional sites that have been identified. If you are here tonight to make comments regarding the draft housing element, I would highly encourage you to attend tomorrow night's ad hoc committee meeting at 6 p.m. here in the City Council chambers to provide your input to the committee. And now, is there a staff report?
There is not, since this was a council item requested by Mayor Pro Tem Miller. We'll turn it over to him for comment.
Based on what you just said, there's nothing to say. I guess my three options are not options. The draft housing element the City Council approved on October 10th, 2011, indicated city residents had many opportunities to participate in the housing element update. This was not true since the public was not notified of the ad hoc meetings or receiving agendas. The draft states that the meeting notices were posted on the city website and notification was published in the local newspaper. As of November 6th, 2011, no meeting notices or agendas were posted on city website for that particular group. Even today, there is not a notice on the city website. There's an agenda, but there's no notice, and there's no easy way to get to that if there's no notice. And there was no notification ever in the local newspaper. Therefore, only a couple of people attended those meetings. When I pointed this out to staff on December 11th, they revised the draft to indicate the notices were posted on the board outside of City Hall here, as well as on the website, and neither of these forms of notification will result in the opportunity of city residents to participate because they were not really aware of the meetings by these two methods. As indicated on October 10th, the draft housing element meeting notifications regarding the housing element should be published in local newspapers on Thursdays before the meetings. And unfortunately, tomorrow night's meeting is posted on the bulletin board and the agenda is on the website, which is not readily accessible by going to the home page or identified. The housing element meeting notifications need to be published in the Sun, and the website needs to be, I think the home page on the website needs to be modified, so when you go to the home page, you say meeting notifications, notices, and so you can go right to the notices so that if people want to use the website, they'll be able to identify. Right now, you have to go through a series of steps to get to the agenda. At our October 10th meeting, again, we were told staff had talked with the shops that Rossmore owner on more than one occasion, and they were aware of the draft housing amount, and they supported it. We were also told that the potential buyers at the shops at Rossmore supported housing. It sounds like an ideal situation where neither has proven out to be the case. Also, HCD had issues with the size of the property at Pacific Coast Highway and Seal Beach Boulevard, and thus now the housing element inventory will be revisited. And one of my issues is the balance of power and for the voting on these type of issues on these committees. When it gets revisited, I think that the council needs to reconsider several other options, and those options that were outlined here in Exhibit A. And one would be to form a new group to review the inventory, or have the city council pick up this action itself and review the inventory. That would be the quickest way, to have the council review these and just identify which property should be on the inventory, or have the ad hoc committee again review this and limit the voting to the 10 members from the district appointees. And I say that because, as an example, the ad hoc committee currently with Old Town and the Hill have 8 votes, so a minority group of 2 can control the decision-making process. So, and that's because we have two representatives one from the council and one from the Environmental Quality Control Board, and the 2 at-large members are both one from Old Town and one from the Hill. So basically, I just like to, first of all, I think we should give consideration to the council doing it. Secondly, we could have a new group. And thirdly, if we let the ad hoc committee have it again, I think that we need to have more balanced voting between districts. With that, I'd like to see if anybody else has comments on that.
I only have one. It was a unanimous decision.
Okay. And it was
a power issue.
It was a unanimous decision, but well, I think that it would be better that I think if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty, I think the group was kind of guided to the shops at Rossmore, and we could go into more detail on that, but I don't really want to do that.
Well, Mr. Miller, you weren't there.
I've done a lot of research, thank you.
But you were not there.
You're right.
And you didn't mention that the planning commissioner representative also comes from your district.
That's true.
So I really...
I'm just saying...
Very difficult to get people to come out. If you remember April 25th, 2011, I came to you and I said, this committee is too big. I really would like to trim it down. And you told me, okay, we're not having the participation we should. Each council member will take the responsibility to make sure. And I said, we're doing the housing element. We are trying to expedite the housing element because it's way past due. And you basically told me, and check April 25th, 2011, because I just watched it, you basically told me, make do with what you've got.
I wouldn't have said that.
But those aren't your words. That's what you basically said to me. And I said, fine, and we went ahead, and this entire council worked very hard to fill that committee. And from that, you had citizens who gave up their evening, studied. I had dinner with a woman this week that's already finished her homework for local coastal this week. That's how seriously these people take their stuff. And now you're saying, oh, but we don't want them to vote. What's that about? I mean, you don't ask people to give up their time and come and serve your community and then turn around and say, I don't like what you came out with. You evidently weren't bright enough to see that you were steered in a direction, and therefore you should have your voting rights taken away from you, or we should redo the committee now. And I just think it's insulting. And if we want people to step up and do these jobs, we need to empower them and let it go through the process. Gary, it's only an ad hoc committee. They recommend the planning. They have no decision-making ability. The decision was made by this council, not by them. So I don't care what the council does, because I don't really have, and I mean I care, but I'm not trying to push it one way or another. I just think this is just insulting the people who volunteer to step forward and do a lot of work to get a job done.
Well, I think it's a sad state of affairs when you have misrepresentations going on in your report that your group put together, that they were led to put together, that they thought was the right decision, the way they were led. And that's feedback from people that were on that committee. One of the people that quit that committee was because they said that the senior people kind of dominated the meeting, and they felt like they weren't really able to participate in that particular meeting. And I think that what's been said by staff when we talk about the issues we've had with this program is that let's go from here. And all I'm saying, when we go from here, maybe we should learn from the past that we should have more balanced decision-making.
It was a unanimous decision.
I think the mayor probably has made the proper recommendation, and that is the ad hoc committee can look at a enlarged listing of sites and continue on.
Well, I guess that's what I thought was inappropriate about that, or
What's that?
that's what I thought was inappropriate, that you would say that it's going to go to that committee when I have an agenda item where I'm suggesting it goes somewhere else. So.
Well, basically, you're suggesting that it goes somewhere else is to deadline it either back to the city council, which it has never been as such. Again, ad hoc committees are not supposed to be done away with just because they come up with some answer you don't like, which is basically what this appears to be. The mayor, I think, has made a reasonable suggestion. In other words, that, okay, there were other locations that the ad hoc committee could have looked at, and that it go back to them. This is what you do in this kind of situation, and let them look at a larger selection with new information, and then come back with a new recommendation, and not be done away with, because this is a slap in their face, and I can't face these people if just because one council member, as far as I can see, doesn't like their recommendation, says, okay, you guys go away, we're going to take it back. There's a certain way of doing things, Gary, and this is not the way.
The option 3 was to go back to them, Gordon. The option 3 is to go back to them, only thing as I suggested that we had balanced voting between districts. That is option 3 right here. You understand what I'm saying?
But
I didn't tell this to go back. By the way, you need to get that correct. I didn't make the decision that needed to go back. And nor did I say the shops in Marshall were off the list.
Why do you feel, look, we have a city. Why do you feel that the voting is not balanced now? Because it's not packed your way? You think it's packed Ellery and my way because we have somebody from the Environmental Quality Control Board or the Planning, or this one is on it, which loads it that way? I don't see it.
Okay.
I would make a motion that the mayor's recommendation be accepted to refer back to the ad hoc committee, that they widen the number of sites that they look at for inclusion, and that basically the committee stay the same, and again, follow through with the steps it was going to follow.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Mayor, there really is no need for a vote on this at this time.
But it would be all right to have one, wouldn't there?
That's fine, because you're basically agreeing with what's happening tomorrow night anyway.
All right. Then we'll take a vote. Everyone vote, please.
I just have one more comment, and that is, Gary, that is the public process, and that is the public participation.
I would like to suggest to the council, we got lost on the voting and all that. I would like to see the council ask the staff, although the next meeting may be the last meeting, but henceforth, for the housing element, I'd like to see it in the newspaper. As an example, tomorrow night's meeting, I put a notice out in my district in my newsletter, so they know about it. I don't know about District 2, but I doubt the Old Town or the Hill knows about tomorrow night's meeting, for the most part of the people. So I'd like to see it in the newspaper.
So you want this ad hoc committee treated differently than the other committees that we have?
Well, I'm saying to you that you're representing to the state of California that you've opened up and you've had
Gary, this
many
isn't
opportunities.
the only meeting. It's going to go from here to planning to council. There's going to be a lot of notification. We're announcing it right now.
Did you ever read your own document? It said you already did that, and you didn't do it, so I'm saying start doing it now. It said you did that. It said you made many
I
opportunities.
believe that was revised.
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen the latest revision. You must know more than I know. I'm just saying.
Mark, was that revised?
When the document is sent back to the state, yes, that will be revised.
Thank you.
Will be, has not been. I would just suggest that we put it in the paper because we say we're giving the public a lot of opportunities. So I would like to make that proposal that we do that. Put it in the newspaper and advertise it, if there's any meetings beyond tomorrow night's meeting, because it's already too late for tomorrow night's meeting.
What, advertise that there is going to be an ad hoc meeting?
For a housing element.
Or just for the housing element?
You're
not
right.
for the local coastal plan?
Well, you know, the people in College Park East probably aren't that interested in the local coastal plan. But everybody's interested in the housing element.
All right. Ms. City Manager, there's no problem putting out a press release, is
Well,
there?
it costs money.
Put out a press release.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
The press release, there's no issue with that. My only slight hesitation would be in the past we've had where the committee didn't have a quorum. And sometimes we don't know that until the day of the meeting, but having said
Probably
that-
after tonight, there'll be a quorum.
Just to watch the.
Is there a quorum for tomorrow night?
All right, so that henceforth, not for tomorrow night, unless this goes out on patch tomorrow, but otherwise it would go out for the next meeting.
So just to confirm, a press release and not an advertisement?
Correct. Thank you.
Can you put that out before? Can you put that out before the Thursday before the meeting so that it could be in the Sun if they chose to put it in there? City Manager?
We'll work with them on it.
Thank you.
We're not really in open session, but this one time we'll make that exception.
Bruce Monroe again. I don't mean to interrupt, but I have some information that may save us some money. The editor has told me after I posted a letter to the editor about inviting people to come and be a part of this process, that they would be happy to post the Tuesday evening once, the second Tuesday of every month for the several months to come, and it will not cost us anything. We wouldn't have to pay for an ad or a public announcement. We could simply do it as a letter to the editor or a passing editorial comment.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. You've been really good at getting the word out, too. I appreciate that.
Any other council comments? All right, on to the consent calendar. Where are we now? There we go. H and I. All right, item H.
Mayor, if we can have a vote on the consent calendar first and then take H and I.
Move approval of the consent calendar, excluding H and I.
Okay, excuse me, are the minutes part of the consent calendar?
Yes, and for the record, if you want to abstain, we can have that noted for the record.
Yes, I need to abstain as I wasn't here.
That's
So
right.
now do I vote yes on the consent calendar,
Yes.
and you make a note to the side? Okay.
Exactly.
You can abstain, you can vote as an abstention.
No, but it was the consent calendar, so I don't want to abstain on all of the consent calendar, do I?
All right.
Okay.
All right, that passes 5-0. We'll take item H. Who had that one first? 'Cause
What's that?
3 of you did. Item, good.
Okay. Well, again, I guess I pulled it first. My only problem with this is I'm not against it in principle. My only difficulty with it is that 2 weeks from tonight, we're having a mid-term budget discussion. And I thought one of the things we were going to try to do is not every council meeting virtually pull out expenditure items like this. And it just seems to me that this should come out at the mid-budget review session and not here. I'm not, as I say, I'm not against it totally in principle, but we lost that 500,000 from the state. I guess it was federal government. And we still have budgeted something like 340,000 or whatever it is. But to pull this out now, before, I think it should come up next council meeting as part of that budget process.
Someone else spoke on H.
Yeah, I did. First of all, I think we had this discussion. We never agreed that we were going to wait till mid-year to make budget adjustments. In our prior years, we've made adjustments as we needed to go. And a budget is nothing more than an estimate. And things come up during the year that you have to go ahead and do. You can't just say we're going to wait till mid-year. And in this case, I think the Public Works Department is trying to get the consultants on ahead of time so that they're ready. We just can't run a city where we stop and wait for 6 months. And this is an important issue to College Park East. With regard to the Zimmerman letter, it really doesn't capture, as written, it doesn't capture what, I'm going to go on from that, but that was just a budget statement. But with regard to, we want Zimmerman to find a solution to OCTA's 405 improvement project, because at this time, all the plans they have, alternatives intrude into College Park East. Some up to 10 feet into College Park East on Allman Avenue. And in the best case situation, we may end up with parking on just one side of Allman Avenue, and depending on how the walls moved and the Edison poles go and all that stuff, I think in worst case, we may lose parking on both sides of Allman Avenue, and it's for two blocks east of Allman Park, and most of Allman between Allman Park and Astor Street. So for almost all that. So it's a significant impact on College Park East. And I think the Zimmerman contract needs to be revised to say something that the scope of service needs to state the objectives of finding alternatives to for alignment solutions to eliminate Caltrans OCTA's planned intrusions into College Park East. Rather than just saying in their letter, they say prepare alternative arrangements. And the second issue, the Lewandowski, is it?
I believe it's Lewandowski.
Lewandowski. He's going to be addressing the environmental issues, and the environmental issues are related to that stretch between Valley View and the 605 freeway, where they already have like 6 or 7 lanes in each direction now. The intention of this project is to add another 1 or 2 lanes. And what that's going to do is it's going to impact our air quality. There's going to be other environmental issues. In fact, a couple of years ago in the LA Times, it identified College Park West as having the worst air quality in the area. So if you take that and you put this new freeway with 2 more lanes in each direction, or 1 more lane in each direction, one of the issues becomes LA County is doing nothing. So the people coming out of the south are going to come up there not only in peak hours, but in off-peak hours, and there's going to be a congestion because it's going to bring all those lanes back down to 3 or 4, whatever goes into LA County. So I think it's important that we have this environmental issue looked into, as well as the design of the project. And this EIR is going to be out at the end of March or April.
It's scheduled to be released in April.
All right. And so we're trying to get the people on board, and it has nothing to do with when the money's really available. The issue is there, and we need to be ready to handle the issue. So,
excuse me, Gary, are you against the recommendation?
No, I just want to. No. The guy doing the environmental study, everything in that package looks good. The only problem I had is that the Zimmerman document did not identify the fact that we wanted them to look for alternatives to keep the OCTA Caltrans project from intruding into College Park East. And that's not stated in the document, and I would like to see that stated in the letter so it's very clear that that's the objective of the effort.
All right, staff, would you see to that?
I'm sorry, are we through?
No, Gary is still, have you wound down?
That's what I'd like.
Okay, all right.
We can make that addition to the letter.
All right, good.
Okay, I'd just like to piggyback about the budget and the fact that budgets are estimates. At our next meeting is when we're going to do our budget review. And it seems to me that to be prudent, and our city is well managed, and we have done a great job with our finances, and in order to stay there, we need to know what money we have and what money we're spending. Next meeting, we're going to do all that. So it would be my suggestion that we put the $347,000 that we've budgeted for Lamson into everything else that we're looking at. We take this, which I don't think any of us disagree, this needs to be done for College Park East. We all agree with that. And then go ahead and put it into the regular process. Money needs to be spent when it's strategically planned for. And we're not looking at 6 months, we're looking at next meeting. And so that would be my recommendation, is that we continue this until next time and see where everything, we know that Jill's done a great job of saving a lot of money. We don't have everything in front of us right now as to how we might want to pay for that. And I just think it should be done in a strategic manner and not just pulled up as I need this, I want it now, when the EIR isn't even going to come out until April.
I want to make a point that when we did return the $500,000 to the federal or state, whoever it went back to, we had $350-some thousand, and staff is supposed to be working. In fact, in a week and a half, I'm going to review with them improving the medians in College Park East that were going to be done. So that's supposed to be coming back to the council as soon as we develop the proposal. We're going to bring it back to the council. So it's not like, at least at this time, that the $350,000 should go back into the general fund yet.
Well, I think that was Gordon's motion originally, wasn't it, Gordon, that it go back into the general fund, and then we would be more than happy to relook at the landscaping of Lamson?
I suggest you go back and read the minutes.
Oh, I'm happy to do that. I'm just asking Gordon.
Guys, wait.
That was Gordon's.
All right, wait, we have
But he had a vote.
We have an issue here.
Yes.
And the issue isn't the landscaping. The issue isn't whether we go for alternative 2 or 3. The issue right now on this issue is, are we going to approve the contracts so that we are prepared in time when we do have an EIR to have them look at?
Right.
If we postpone for 1 meeting or 1 month, are we going to have the contract in place?
I would make a motion that we
postpone till the next council meeting with, at that time, when you bring it back, make the recommendation that Councilman Miller has made concerning the, what was it, that area that's of College Park East where it goes and meets up with the 605 in the EIR.
Well, I second that, but I'd like to hear what the answer to the mayor's question is.
Oh, okay. Mayor, repeat your question.
What I asked is if we postpone a decision on hiring these two firms until next meeting or next month, are we going to still have time? Will they have time to go ahead and do their work diligently once the EIR comes out?
Well, I think that preparing an adequate response for the CEQA documents that are coming out is going to take as much time as we possibly can have. And so the added 2 weeks will be beneficial to us. If we wait 2 weeks, we will go forward and prepare the adequate response or prepare the best response we can, but 2 weeks would help us. Either way, we will have a good response.
All right. Further discussion? David?
I support the motion, but I also believe that we need to put the language in there to save the houses.
It's a street, but thank you. It's a street. It's not houses, it's a street. It's actually
There's
making
no
the street.
housing.
There's no housing this time, just the street of Almond that runs the full length of the track. But,
Well, I will support that.
and the air quality is very important. I mean, that's, your district's going to be the worst of the air quality, in my opinion. We may be second. But I guess, and that's, I don't want to get off the topic again, but I still think that we have finance people here that know budgets. You don't run a city from 6 months to 6 months. Things come up in the 6 months. When you do a budget, you do your best estimate for what's going to take place in that year, and then things come up along the way. And I agree, Elry's got a point. In the previous city manager, we had a budget revision about once a month. And that
About once a meeting.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
All right.
Okay, well,
wait.
here's, then I
Wait,
think
no,
what we need
I
to
want
do.
to vote on this one.
Well,
Okay,
before we
first.
do that, because, okay, go ahead.
As long as you're not
Yeah,
answering the
that's
budget deal again,
That wasn't what I
that's
was gonna
dead
do.
for now.
That wasn't what I was going to do, but go
Okay.
ahead, take this.
All right. Motion is to postpone a vote on this till the next meeting. And, well, we actually have two, because we have two different resolutions here we have to vote on.
Mayor,
They both cost money.
we could actually just continue this item until the February 27th meeting and have it considered after you've heard the mid-year budget review, so that 2 weeks from today, you can make a decision and we're ready to move forward.
All right, and that'll be for both
Correct.
resolutions, we would postpone.
But I would recommend that Councilman Miller's additions for that area on the 60, well, where it meets the 605 by College Park West be added to the environmental recommendation. Is that any problem?
No, I think if I have it correctly, on page 2, at page 2 of the Zimmerman letter, it's their proposal that's dated January 17th. If you look at the second page, it's the scope of services includes, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullets. It would add language to the fifth bullet, prepare alternative alignments that will not adversely impact College Park East. Should we be more specific than that?
Well, I thought, now what Miller was mentioning was College Park West, where the 405 is going to come up and butt up against the 605 because 605 and the 405 is not going to be enlarged in LA County, correct, Gary?
Yeah, but that's the environmental letter for the Lewandowski, and I think they've written that adequately to cover the environmental aspects of the project, I think. Do you not think so, Sean?
I do.
So, I'm not concerned about that. I just wanted to make a point with Zimmerman. Zimmerman's supposed to go out and try to find alternatives to eliminate coming into College Park East.
We'll revise that final bullet point.
I provided language to the city attorney today, so.
And so we'll forward that to Sean,
Thank you.
to the consultant.
All right.
You need to vote on that?
Yes,
What are you voting on?
we're voting on the
The
motion
motion to continue.
to continue this and to have that wordage added. All vote?
I want the words. I just don't want to wait.
All right, motion passes 4-1. Item I. Ellery, you pulled that.
Yes, I did. All I would like is a,
Ellery?
oh, I'm sorry.
Maybe it might be helpful, since this is a new item that the council's considering tonight, at least for the full council's benefit and for the public, if Sean just does a quick update on what this actually is going to do.
That's what I was asking for.
Oh, okay.
That's all I wanted to, was I just wanted Sean, we've had a lot of questions about it, so I thought if Sean could just give us an overview, that'd be great.
So item I on the agenda is a recommendation from staff to award a contract to the firm of Digital Map Central for preparation of a graphic information system for the city. Graphic information system, for everybody that doesn't know, is a computer software application that links a graphical map to a database of information. That graphical map and information can be used for a variety of purposes to automate a lot of functions at the city and make a lot of the things we do easier to save our employees time to do their jobs. It's an application that almost every city has, and it's widely used by all of the departments within the city. Every department can tailor this application to help out the operations of their department. What you have in front of you is a recommendation from staff to award a contract so that the backbone of the system can be built, and it will be used immediately by the water and sewer departments of the city here. So we'll have all of the information related to locations of our utility lines and those sorts of things built in. We currently have a GIS system, but what we currently have is a license for ArcGIS that we have at the city. We have a very rudimentary and basic GIS system that was built by interns here at the city over the years. It's received no significant updates in the past 4 or 5 years. It has an aerial photo as a backdrop that was taken in 2004 and really doesn't do a lot for the city. We meet our legal requirements to have, we have some legal requirements that require us to have a GIS, and we meet those, but we don't have a lot of usability for the city. And currently, there is only one employee in the city, one intern that knows how to use this software. No one else knows how to use it. So this system that we have here will provide a system that has a lot more features to it, and it will be available for every city or every employee in the city to use. One brief example I might explain about how it will automate our system is it will provide a feature called buffer search. So when any employee of the city or when any department of the city needs to send out a mailer, say that's within 500 feet of a specific point in the city, of a house, for example, this system, you can pick a point on a map, and it'll auto pick up all of the addresses, export into Excel, and then you can generate a mailer from that in probably a minute, whereas before it was taking an administrative staff some time to put together all of that address information, get it onto envelopes, and send it out. And that information in the system will be current at all times, so that it's not the situation where our current address information, we don't update it every day. We don't have it current all the time, so it'll always be current. So that's just one example of how it can help the city. This system will build the backbone, but it won't have a lot of functionality for the other departments other than the water and sewer divisions of Public Works. The plan is to come back after this year, and we will sit down with all the other departments and review what it is that they'd like to see in it. We'll present what other cities have done. In Digital Map Central, we have a representative here tonight, Mr. Benjamin Webb, in the audience that can answer more detailed questions if you'd like. But Digital Map Central has done this for numerous other cities. Just within Orange County, they have Westminster, Stanton, San Juan Capistrano, I believe Placentia also. So they've been working with all these other cities developing this to provide features that assist the staff in
in this product, and they'll be able to help that with us. We did float an RFP, and we had 15 consultant teams express interest in doing an RFP for us. We had 9 of those 15 submit proposals. Our staff interviewed 4 of them. Within the staff report, you see the prices for the 4. Digital Map Central was the most cost-effective of the 4 that submitted, and also we felt that they were the most qualified and it was the best product. Submitted within that proposal, there is an annual subscription or an annual fee to maintain and operate the system. They will host it off-site, so if we have a natural disaster, that system will not go down for the city, and we will continue to be able to use it. But within that is an $18,000 fee that will continue to run the system for 1 year. After that, we will have to do an annual subscription. Of course, if we add to the system, that subscription may change. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Sean, the annual subscription, is it very different for this firm than for the other 3 that had higher initial bids?
Actually, the annual subscription was more for the other firms. One other point I'd like to bring up is that we currently pay a licensing fee for the software that we have. When we bring on this new system, we will no longer be paying that licensing fee. So we will save that. I mean, it's not as much as the $18,000. I believe it's, I think it's in the neighborhood of $10,000 or $11,000 a year. But that fee will go away.
Thank you, Sean.
That's it, no questions? Okay. Motion? You want to move?
Oh, yeah, I'd move to approve.
All vote?
Do I have a second?
Second? Yes. All right. We have no item for public hearing. We have... Excuse me? We had open hearing for the community at the beginning of the meeting. No, ma'am? When?
Just the head.
She's referring to the portion of the agenda that says public hearings, no items at this time.
We don't have a public hearing. There's no subject for a public hearing. One has not been declared, so there is no public hearing. Not now, no. Public comment is at the beginning of the meeting. There is no public hearing. That would be at the next meeting during public comment. It could be in the form of a question, it could be a comment, it could be an accusation. We have all kinds of comments made at us. So you'll have your ample time. We don't have a subject for a public hearing. I'm sorry.
Quinn, would you define what when it says public hearing, what that means?
Yes, we have a period in our agenda called oral communications, which members of the public can speak before any decisions are reached by the city council on every agenda. That's true for the planning commission and other bodies we have. And so the mayor is suggesting that you come back at the next city council meeting and arrive early enough so that you're here for oral communications and you can provide any documentation, you can say anything you want within reason at the next council meeting.
But
the opportunity.
But she could also speak if we have an item for public hearing.
Yes.
At that time, public hearings are also open for comment on that particular item.
You are correct. If we had anything on the agenda, like last meeting, we had a public hearing on another item, So people have a second or third opportunity, depending on how many public hearings are listed on the agenda. Tonight, there's no public hearings. And so in any case, as you know, there's a 5-minute limit on the comments that are raised by the people from the public. Yes, you can do that at the next council meeting. He's the mayor, he runs the meeting.
Ma'am, I don't think you understand. What you want to do will be accommodated at the next meeting. There is no public hearing. Nothing has been declared. There is no subject for a public hearing. And when you do speak at a public hearing, you speak specifically to the subject. If you come in for public comment earlier in the meeting, you can talk about anything you want for your 5 minutes. By doing that at the next meeting at public comment. If there is a public hearing declared, yes. You don't declare it. The city does. I'm sorry. Perhaps someone in staff can meet with this lady and discuss the procedure.
Okay, so Mayor, at the next item on the agenda.
We have no unfinished or continued business. We have no new business. We're going on to the successor agency matters.
Yes, so this is the first time that the successor agency will be meeting. And there are, I believe, 4 resolutions for your consideration. And for the benefit of the public, the Seal Beach Redevelopment Agency, as it's true with all other redevelopment agencies, dissolved as of February 1st. Prior to that time, the City Council appointed the City Council as the successor agency. And this are the 4 issues for your consideration as the successor agency to the Seal Beach Redevelopment Agency. These are the first 4 items that you're going to be considering. And the first item is resolution, if the correct number is SA 12-01. Actually, backing up, there's a City Council Resolution 6222 where it's for the successor board to consider establishing the rules and regulations for the operation of the successor agency.
Mr. City Attorney, should these all be handled separately, each one separately?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any questions about the rules and regulations? Resolution number 6.
Move approval of 6222.
Second.
And that passes 5-0.
Okay, so the next resolution for your consideration is resolution number SA 12-01. And it's creating a redevelopment obligation retirement fund. AB 26 authorizes and requires the successor agencies to set up a fund for the dissolution of the redevelopment agency. There's a number of activities that have to take place in the next few months and may actually extend for a year or two to take care of the existing obligations of the agency. And so you set up this retirement fund, and the money will be put into that retirement fund.
Move approval of resolution number SA 12-01.
Second. Passes 5-0.
The third resolution for your consideration is authorizing the successor agency to deposit and withdraw monies in the Local Agency Investment Fund, also known as LAIF. At this time, our redevelopment funds have actually been taken out of LAIF And I believe they'll be putting an end to Chase.
Right now, it's with Bank of America.
It's still in Bank of America, but the staff will probably put them into Chase if they get the best rate. So this only authorizes in the future, if for any reason we want to deposit money into LAIF, that can be done by the executive director and our finance director.
Move approval of resolution number SA 12-02.
Second.
Vote. Passes 5-0.
And finally, for your consideration is a document that you've seen before when you were the redevelopment agency. It's called the Enforceable Obligation Payment Schedule. And AB 26 requires the successor agency to adopt essentially the same enforceable obligation payment schedule that the redevelopment agency did back in January, second meeting in January. So it's our recommendation to adopt the EOPS.
Move approval of resolution number SA 12-03.
Second. Vote, please. And that passes 5-0.
And so that's the only matter for consideration tonight, the only matters, and in 2 weeks we'll be back with additional resolutions or things to consider.
As we learn them.
Yes, because there's a lot of stuff.
All right. Don't see that we have any other business. Let's see. Special adjournment tonight. Tonight, we're going to adjourn the meeting in the memory of Villa Park City Council member Bob Forteau. And if I have no objection, the council meeting will be adjourned to Monday, February 27th at 6:30 p.m. if closed session is necessary. Thank you.